I heard someone say recently that Trojan fans, they kind of need to stop wasting their breath making excuses. He might not have used those exact words, but I agree with the sentiment 100%. I'm going to tell you why on this episode of Locked On USC.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, you already know you can pick any platform out there. You can download this podcast, and this show is always going to be free. And this show is always going to appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. How much longer do you think some Trojan fans, not all, some, will make excuses and keep moving the goalposts? I mean, think about it. After each loss last year, there was a narrative. It was common. I even got caught up in it a little bit. Coach Riley, after each close loss, Coach Riley, he would kind of dip into his bag of coach speak, and he would tell everyone, hey, we're close. USC's really close. Look, here's the thing. Even if USC was close, and they were, all anyone is going to remember is the final score. USC 7 wins, USC 6 losses. That's the bottom line. But here's the thing. Ever since USC won their bowl game, when they beat Texas A&M in that comeback fashion, good things have been happening, right? We've been talking about it. We've been telling everybody. We've been advertising. I was listening to J.D. Piquel, friend of the show, and he was saying things. He's much more diplomatic than I am. I kind of just shoot straight from the hip, let you know how I feel, and hopefully it doesn't hurt too many feelings. JD, again, a little bit more diplomatic, says, hey, you know what? Enough advertising. We need to see the product match the advertising. And he was absolutely correct. What I heard, stop wasting your breath telling us it's time to show it. So, again, everything since USC's bowl win, it's everything trending up, right? If I had a chart in front of me right now, the arrow would just be going like this. And that's what you want. Now you got to make sure that the chart is trending. The way the chart is trending is an actually accurate portrayal of what's going on. So if we're using fall camp right now, right, things are going well. USC has the number 1 recruiting class. The defense is supposed to be better than it was last year. And from what I've seen, the sample size of the glimpses of what the media is allowed to watch during practice, it is. It's going to be better. And that's great news. Everything, all of that is great news. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. I'm just trying to tell you what I see, what I hear. It's up to you. If you don't believe me, just ask the majority of the Trojan fans who are hoping things are finally in order. They'll tell you. They're saying the same thing. USC fans last year, everyone was willing to accept the close but no cigar argument because we saw progress that was made on the field, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And that's always been what ails Coach Riley. So we saw that improvement. We saw that development. Look, I'm just here to say, that excuse, close but no cigar, it's no longer acceptable. If I hear that going forward this season, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. And so, look, I don't think there's a lot more that we need to know about Coach Riley. We know who he is, what he is. We know he's considered one of the top offensive play callers. That's why USC went out and got him. Young, innovative, brash. I like all that. But now, right, Coach Riley has a defense to pair up with that. There's no more wasting time. There's no more, well, we're building towards the future. No, the future's now. That's what I'm saying. I'm not willing to accept anything else as far as, excuses. Yeah, the world can cave in and USC can have injuries, every single frontline starters. Okay. That's not going to happen, but it's that type of thing that would have to say, all right, let's back it up a little bit, give a little bit of latitude. Look, there's no time to waste, period. There's just 19 days left when you're watching this episode of Locked on USC for USC to beat the Bears. They host Missouri State. So if you're watching Monday, 19 days left before the season kicks off. Can you believe it? Look, as far as wasting time during practice, more of, you'll hear the coaches say that the competition is always open. Guys are battling, trying to find the right guys, the right group to work together. I'm going to tell you this right now. All right, let's just keep it real. With less than 3 weeks to go, the staff knows who they have and who's capable of doing what. So again, I know they're going through the motions thing. Who can do this in particular situations in certain positions? Fine, but don't waste a whole lot of time. The coaching staff knows who's going to be their starting 5 on that offensive line. I know the whole DJ Wingfield thing is up in the air, but if the game was played tomorrow, they know who their starting 5 is. The USC needs a bounce back year this year on the field. They've had a hell of a bounce back offseason. Brought in the general manager. You improved your defensive coaching staff. You brought in Rob Ryan, Coach Trevon Reed, Chad Savage on the opposite side of the ball. You have the number 1 recruiting class. And again, USC doesn't have to finish with the number 1 class. It'd be great if they did. Gives you something else to brag about. But top 5, okay, more than acceptable, right? I don't think anybody should say, oh, USC didn't have the number 1 class. They finished number 4 in the country. Coming off of back-to-back 8 and 5 and 7, 6 seasons, yeah, that's great. Because I think if USC fans are being honest with themselves, that's not what we signed up for when USC put in the investment into Coach Riley and the infrastructure and everything that's going on with recruiting. You have to do better than 8 and 5 and 7 and 6. Otherwise, you're wasting time. No. Coach Riley sounds optimistic every August, right? And he is very optimistic this year as well. But this is his 4th August. Okay? The house has to be in order. Or you have to at least be able to open the door and you have an open house. Say, hey, come on in. Look what we've done. There's nothing left to hide. There shouldn't be. So I agree with J.D. Pickell. Stop telling me. Start showing me. As I said, he said the advertising has to match the product that's being put on the field. Don't tell me you're getting a Mercedes and show up in the driveway, I don't know, with what? A Toyota, a Toyota? Don't get me wrong, Toyota's a great car, but it's not a Mercedes. No more talk. Just start doing the walk, right? I also like that J.D. Pickell said that 9 and 3 should be the low end. Because now you're starting to show that, yeah, everything you've been talking about is actually happening. He sees things the way I do. He's just much more diplomatic about it. Win your home games. Go 3-2 on the road. Right? 7-0 at home, 3-2 on the road. Guess what? You do that, you're in the playoffs. Excuse me. But yeah, 9 and 3 this year, that should be the low end benchmark. Anything less than that, are we wasting time? I know everybody wants to look towards 2026. Why? Why are we Yeah, I get it. You always want to look forward. You want to build for the future. I get that. I really, really do. But at some point, the future has to start, right? It can't always be a year down the road. This is a year where USC has to show that, hey, you know what? We came to this conference not just for more money, but because we're able to compete with the Ohio States and the Michigans. We know we can compete with Penn State. But we can do that on an annual basis. And we don't have to drop Notre Dame either. But that was just me saying that. All right. So, yeah, 9-3 this year, bottom line, or we're wasting time. I think we have to start looking at what's going on here. What's going on in USCville? This is not me being negative about Coach Riley. I am his hugest fan. I will also be his biggest critic. And I think that's okay. There's nothing I want more than to see that guy succeed, because the more he succeeds, the happier I am, the happier you are. And all of a sudden, USC is back to ruling college football. And I like watching other people feel miserable because USC is kicking their butt. And that's all I want. That's all. All right. 2 more segments to go. I'm going to tell you why Waymo is the way to make USC's offense go. And then on Monday, we've got the Monday mailbag. So we're going to tackle all that. That's coming up next. We've all been there. I've been there. It's happened to me before. I don't want it to happen to you anymore or in the future. You know, maybe there's a concert you want to go to before the end of the summer. You're looking to get some tickets to a USC game down the road, whether it's on the road, it's at the Coliseum. You've been waiting in line, and all of a sudden something happens and you lose your spot in line, and you're like, what the heck? I was waiting to get my tickets. Well, live music, going to a USC game, it should be all about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where GameTime comes in. GameTime makes getting concert tickets, any tickets, faster and easier than ever. Seriously, did you know this? That the prices will actually drop as you get closer to the start of the show, whether a sporting event, a concert, whatever. Yeah. Because of that, yeah, you can save up to like 60% off with these killer last minute deals at GameTime. And ever wonder what your view is going to look like when you do this? Don't worry. With GameTime, they give you a panoramic view. There's no surprises. You're going to know what it's going to look like before you check out. And with the GameTime guarantee, the price you see is the price you pay. There's no hidden fees. If you see a price in your section of rope or less, GameTime, they actually credit you back 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, and you're going to get $20 off. Download the GameTime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Before I get into the USC running game, just in case you didn't hear, I think I talked about it late last week. USC nickelback, Prophet Brown, he suffered a non-contact injury last week. Coach Riley called it a kind of a unique situation. He said the veteran defender is going to miss certainly the first part of the season, but he's also holding out hope that he could return at some point this year. Quote, we'll see how it plays out. Certainly hopeful to get him back, and think that's very much a real possibility. We'll see how that progresses, end quote. I don't know. Usually when coach prefaces it like that, it's not a good sign. And all I'm going to say is prayers are up for Prophet. This sucks in so many ways. I mean, on so many different levels. He has bid his time, right? He actually has a chance to make a contribution. And when I saw him last Friday morning before practice, riding around on the scooter, the kind you have to sit on, the motorized kind, with crutches in tow, my heart sunk. Like, are you serious? Prophet? Just terrible. Anyways, he wasn't the only person who's dealing with an injury right now. After practice, I asked Coach Riley if there was a concern with two players who weren't at practice. And he said, quote, nothing huge, just a couple of normal camp things, but not anything now that we would expect people to miss time, end quote. One of those players that was missing, it was Eric Gentry. So, yeah, we'll see. I know what the injury is. I can't pass it along. I can't even tell you who the other player was because Coach Riley did not mention him by name. Good thing we still got 19 days before USC kicks off against Missouri State. Here's one other quick nugget I'll pass along to you as far as practice is concerned. Over the weekend, Tobias Raymond, apparently he's getting a look at the left guard position. He's getting some run with the ones. Okay, I'm not saying he is the number one left guard. I'm just saying they're taking a look at him with the ones at left guard. I don't know what that means. I know that it says something about the guys who have been in the program who were recruited to play interior offensive line, who've been around for a couple of years. I know that Tobias is the presumptive starter at right tackle. So I don't know. Is this about finding a backup for left guard? We know that the whole DJ Wingfield thing is up in the air. We know that Micah Benuelos has been getting rave reviews at the starter as the starting left guard so far. So again, is this about finding his backup? Just kind of getting all of your ducks in a row, so to speak? All right. So I just want to kind of pass that along. Shifting gears, talking about the running game. Waymo. Yeah. As far as the running backs go, they will go. The USC running game will go as far as Waymo goes. Those driverless cars. I don't know if I could ever get in one of those. Can you tell me what you think? For me, I still need a human behind that driving wheel. What I need lined up behind USC's offensive line and the quarterback, Waymond Jordan. He's good. He's really, really good. When the running game is working, it sets up everything, absolutely everything. Okay, that's why that's why I've been begging for USC to run the ball more. We saw how effective they were last year. Stuff like play action becomes more effective in the passing game. Helps your wide receivers your tight ends get open. Play action works and becomes effective, extremely effective, when the running game has to be respective. And that's what Waymond Jordan and Brian Jackson and Eli Sanders, they can keep opposing defenses honest. Waymo is that guy, though. I wasn't at practice over the weekend. However, I did hear that the defense won the day on Saturday. But there was also one caveat to that. Yeah, the defense had its way. Waymond Jordan, the transfer running back from junior college, Hutchinson, he had, from what I was told, some really big explosive splash plays. Yeah. I wasn't sure how to take that. It's like, all right, well, the defensive line is winning, but are they still giving up big plays? Hard to tell. I'm picking up bits and pieces, so I can only pass it along. If I don't see it, I can't give you a full blow-by-blow breakdown, so to speak. But what I can tell you is what I have seen. Sometimes you see a player and you just get a certain vibe. I don't know. It's called he has it. No one's ever defined what it is, but it's hard to explain. It's kind of like art. You know it when you see it, right? But besides being a really talented and undervalued out of high school running back, the way he was recruited, he's a junkyard dog. That's how his teammates refer to him. He loves the game of football. And I think you have to love the game of football when you're willing to go the junior college route, because you're not going to get a lot of recognition playing down, right? Coaches will see you, they'll see your film, but you're down there playing football because you love it, because you want a bigger and better opportunity. Some guys aren't willing to do that. Guys who love the game of football, and that's what Waymond Jordan brings. He loves it. Coach Riley even talked about it, said, "Look, that guy, it's not easy playing JUCO ball. But he loves Waymond Jordan because he was willing to do whatever was necessary." And now all of a sudden, look, he's at USC. So you have him, but you also got Brian Jackson. You also have Eli Sanders. Those guys are going to help shoulder the load. But I'll say it again. USC's running game will go as far as Waymo takes the team. I love running backs, some former USC running backs like Curtis Moody McNeil, Buck Allen. That's kind of who Jordan reminds me of. There's a mix in there somewhere between those two. He's got the body of a Curtis McNeil, but his running style reminds me more of Buck Allen. Not sure what it is. You watch his film, you watch him practice, and he just has those feet. He's got those type of feet that make guys miss. He also has enough power to kind of run through you, too. He's not afraid of contact. But I think what I like the most about Jordan is his aw shucks attitude when he talks. He's humble, but he comes across as very confident. So I'm trying to, put everything together, what I've seen, what I hear. And I've come to the conclusion that, the outside sources who are telling me what I can't see, combined with what I can, and what the coaching staff and what his teammates say, he has that it quality. Hey, we can use that. There's a reason why USC is called Tailback U. By the way, never, ever, 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 ever tell Iowa or Wisconsin or anybody from the Midwest that USC is Tailback U. They will lose their stuff. Talk about that more on a later episode this week. But anyways, USC, last year they had a 1,000-yard rusher with Woody Marks. Time to go back to back, and I think Waymond is going to be USC's next 1,000-yard rusher. Okay, here we go. Monday's mailbag coming up. All right, time to get into it. Monday mailbag. One of my everydayers hit me up on Instagram. I think you younger folks like to call it the gram. That his name's Will. He said, "Hey Mark, how fast is Waymond Jordan, and is he going to break off some long runs? And anything else on how he's looked?" Well, Will, I just talked about him in the previous segment, but to your specific question, he is a sub 4.5 guy in the 40-yard dash, so that's good because I think he's been reported 4.48. So yeah, 4.48 is considered fast for a college running back. The average 40-yard dash time for a running back at the NFL Combine, where the top guys kind of show up to be evaluated for the draft, they're typically in the 4.5 to 4.6 range. So yeah, 4.48, it's probably on the faster end of the spectrum. So yeah, there you go. And I think I explained to you in the previous segment, he's been breaking off some long runs, and that's a good thing. It's also a bad thing. I want him doing that against opposing defenses, not USC's defense. But I don't know what string he's going up against when that happens. I just hear it's happening, and I'm good with that. You need to have balance at practice, some good, some bad for both sides. Also, this one was on Instagram from Adrian Hobbs, another everydayer. Good morning, Mark. I know you can't give any details about yesterday's practice, and I know it's just one practice, but I just want to know if you feel more confident or less confident about this year's team. So he actually sent this question to me after the first full practice that the media was allowed to attend and watch. I figure I've been to a couple of those now. We're deep into the second week of camp. I'll go ahead and answer this question. I'm going to say more confident. Mayava is coming out of his cocoon, so to speak. I mentioned that when he's talking in front of the media now after practice, he just seems a little bit more comfortable. He still has some body language stuff to work on, but that's okay. I mean, if you watched him do the ESPN show last week, he was talking with Mason and Ireland, and he was sitting in his chair and his arms crossed like this. And that's usually a defensive posture, and that's okay. I get it. But I feel more confident just listening to him talk. What I've seen at practice, as long as USC doesn't have any significant hits with their depth when it comes to injury, yeah, I feel much better. The defense is going to be so much better than last year, just because it's deeper. And I'm counting on Lincoln Riley's offense not regressing for 2 years in a row. I think he's going to realize that running the ball in the big conference means a lot. He already knew that, but they've been working on situational stuff, that short yardage stuff. That's where they kind of lost it a little bit last year. And again, we know the passing game has to improve. So yeah, the O-line, the running game, the defensive line, those things have me excited. Adam Gross, he sent me a message over on X. He asked me this question. Mark, I've been ruminating on this. I love that word, ruminating. I love your anecdote about your personal interaction with Coach Riley. I wanted to ask you, what is your sense regarding growth with Coach? The last year plus, he's overhauled his staff, and now he's being more friendly, it seems, with the media access. Does this mean anything? I'm rooting hard for success because it means USC football will have success. Do you, from your trained eyes, wink, wink, perspective, see growth that should give us fans hope with regards to Coach? Thanks again for your daily coverage of my favorite team. It's always an honor. It's always my pleasure to cover our favorite team for you. So there's that. Yeah, I think there is some growth. Not because Coach Riley is allowing us to watch practice. That's still pretty hidden, what we're allowed to see and what we're allowed to talk about. But I do see him feeling a little bit more at ease, a little bit more relaxed, just watching him, observing him during practice. And he's talked about this, it's been a little bit of a growth for him, letting go of some stuff, bringing in Chad Bowden to be the general manager. Coach Riley having more of a hands-off approach with certain things, but more hands-on in other areas. So yes, I have seen it. And yeah, like I said earlier on the show, I agree with you, man. I'm rooting for Coach. If he's doing well, the team's doing well, and everybody's happy. So this is not about me being a hater or you being a hater. We just want to see Coach Riley continue to grow. People tend to forget he's still a young guy in the industry. He's 41 years old. That's young. So yeah, I think there is something to read into that. But again, at the same time, he's going to keep his cards close to his vest, just the way he is. I mean, take last week's injury report with Prophet Brown. I don't think it was a coincidence that he was wearing his dark shaded sunglasses and had them on when he was talking, when he was explaining the extent of the injury, finger quotes there. He tried to put on a positive sign, but the words and it just didn't feel right. Again, prayers up for Prophet. Hoping he will be available this year. This one came from Cecil on X. He posted as USC 3P. Hey, Mark. Hello, sir. Do me a favor. Anybody in the future, don't call me sir. My dad is sir. I get it. I appreciate the respect, but don't call me. Just call me Mark. Don't call me late. You can call me anything. Just don't call me late for dinner. I recently viewed a quick clip of Oregon's practice and noticed their defensive lineman hitting the sled and then immediately jumping to tip a pass from a quarterback. Since you've seen SC practices, is that something that they practice? It could help with getting off the field on third down, especially on those quick in routes. Would love your thoughts, Cecil. So I haven't seen that specific drill. USC does something similar where the guys will hit the sled, and when they release, they're coming up with a hand up in the passing lane. Would it be nice to have somebody throwing the ball? I don't know. Sure, why not? The concept is still the same. You're you're going through the motion. And then, so yes, I'm just trying to think, did I miss anything in your question there? Excuse me. In fact, I think I actually showed that drill in one of my practice videos that I posted in the past. Check it out. Go to last week's Friday episode of Locked on USC. I might have that clip in there somewhere. And then the final question, this one came from, and I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Is it Cayman Williams or is it Kyman Williams 2139? Hey, Mark, a lot of us USC fans want to know this from Riley. Has he heard the noise about his offense, and is he motivated to show why he's considered one of the greatest offensive play callers? Basically, did it challenge his identity to evolve and get better at play calling? I really hope so. We'll know. We'll see together when their games are for real. When those games, when USC kicks off, I don't know if we're going to see a whole bunch in the first few games. Again, it's Missouri State, Georgia Southern, Purdue on the road. But yeah, I think we'll know if USC is running the ball more, if they're incorporating the tight end. Sure, we'll be able to see that. I hope so. Because a lot of that, we got a good look at the running game last year. The tight end group, he's got the guys. He just has to start using them. So we'll see. We'll see. I just want to go back real quickly to something Cecil said about the defensive linemen getting their hands up, something I wanted to bring up. You said about getting off the field. Don't forget, last year, USC's third down defense was really good. It's like one of the top defenses, third down defenses in the country. So this is why I feel really good about USC taking a step forward this year. They got more depth. They got better players. And you're bringing Antonlynn back with that same scheme for the second year, and continuity is always a team's best friend. I will be your best friend if you come back for another episode. I'll be back again tomorrow. That's what we do around here 5 times a week. When you're done making Locked on USC your first listen, your first watch every day, don't forget, hit up Brian Smith on the portal, part of the Locked On Network. You can catch that on YouTube. And then when you're all done with Locked On, get on over there to weareusc.com. So much good content. Scott Schrader, he's answering his questions. Eric McKinney, myself, we're covering the team. Chris Arledge, he put out a nice little story. We got the Inside the Trojan Huddle panel show. We got it. We got you covered. When you're not here at Locked on USC every single day, that's the place to be. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.